Crafty Tribe! Today I'm going to show you a tutorial how to make one of these beanies that I designed recently. This pattern is super pretty and I'm in love with it, but it is a more detailed stitch pattern, so I decided a video tutorial is the way to go for this one. So you're going to need two different colors of yarn. You're going to need a 5mm crochet hook. This is actually my Furls crochet hook that I got for Christmas and I absolutely love it. You'll also need a pair of scissors as well. But the main color of your yarn is going to be where this pink part is, and then your accent color is going to be where these gray lines are. So pick that accordingly. Your accent will also be the color of your brim. So pick your main and your accent color accordingly to how you would like it to turn out. Today I'm using Red Heart with Love Minty for my main color and Red Heart Metallic and Charcoal for my accent color. And I'd recommend Red Heart with Love, also Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn. Basically any good size 4 yarn that is of this thickness, because as we all know, some size 4s are a little bit thinner. So a good size 4 thickness like this would be best. And we'll go ahead and just jump right into the pattern. And you're gonna start with your main color yarn and your hook, of course, and you're gonna chain 75. All right, and once we reach 75 chains, we're gonna go ahead and yarn over, and we're gonna count to the 10th chain from our hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we're gonna place a double crochet in that 10th chain from our hook. And then we're gonna put another double crochet right beside in the next chain. And we're gonna chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And we're gonna skip 3, 1, 2, 3. And in that 4th chain, we're gonna put a double crochet. And then another double crochet right beside it in the next chain. And chain 3, skip 3, 1, 2, 3. And the 4th chain, a double crochet, and then another double crochet right beside it. And we're going to be following that pattern all the way till the end of the row, and this will count as our first foundation row. So it should be looking like this for you. Chain 3, skip 3, and then 2 double crochets. You're going to do that all the way till the end, and then you're going to chain 3, skip 3, and put 1 double crochet in that last chain. So go ahead and continue with that. Chain 3, skip 3, 2 double crochets, and I'll meet you back when we get to the end. So I'm down to my last 4 chains here at the bottom. I chain 3, I'm going to skip 3, and then put 1 double crochet right there in the last chain. And then I'm going to pull up a large loop like that and leave it hanging, and that's going to be our working loop at the end. And this will be our first foundation row. Ooh, it stuck to my finger. There we go. And we're going to take, this is the end, we're going to scoot down to the front like here. And this is where we're going to want to grab our second color. And this is how we're going to attach our second color. We're going to make a slip knot. And at the beginning, our first double crochet, we're going to work in the middle chain. So this is our chain 3, and this is technically a double crochet. So we're going to go in this chain right here, the middle chain, insert our hook like so. We're going to take our accent color, put it on our hook as well, and we're going to attach with a slip stitch. Pull a little bit tight, and then we're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this will count for a chain 3 and double crochet throughout the whole pattern. And then we're going to make a double crochet in the back of this. So what I like to do is I like to turn my work so I'm looking at the back. I yarn over, I'm looking at the back, and I'm going to pull up the same middle loop that we attached our yarn in, and I'm going to create a double crochet in the back. And to create that double crochet, again, I turn my work so I'm looking at the back. I find that loop, I put my hook through it, yarn over, pull through, and I just create a double crochet like normal. And then it's going to be in the back of these stitches, so in the back of this chain. And then we're going to go to our next chain opening right here and work our other set of double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, and since this was in the back, the first stitch over here is also going to be in the back. So I'm going to turn my work, so I'm looking at the back, find that middle loop. We're always going to be working in the middle chain of the chain 3 from the previous row. We're going to pull up a loop and create a double crochet like normal. Alright, and now we're looking at it front ways, so you can see that it's made in the back. We're going to chain 3, and we're going to work a double crochet in the front of these stitches, and to do that, you're just going to pull up this loop in the front and make a double crochet like normal. Alright, and you can see our first chain 6 counts as a front double crochet, and then the chain 3 right there, and then a back double crochet. Move to your next grouping, and since we ended with a back double crochet, we'll start with a back double crochet, chain 3, and do a front double crochet. And since we ended with a front double crochet, we're going to start our next grouping with a front double crochet, and we're going to work always in the middle right here, in this middle of the 3 chains, working in the front, chain 3, and we're going to work in the back. Again, I like to turn it so I'm looking at the back. I go through that same loop and just create a double crochet like normal. Alright, and can you guess the next grouping? We ended with a back double crochet, so we're going to start with a back double crochet. Find the middle one in the back, place a back double crochet in there, chain 3, and then do a front double crochet. So we're looking at it normally now. I'm going to pull up a loop, that same loop forward, and we're going to put a double crochet right there in the front. And they're going to continue that sequence all the way until the end. So I ended with a front post, well, not a front post, a front double crochet. So my next one in the next grouping is going to be a front double crochet. Alright, so go ahead and continue that sequence all the way down. Okay, and I made it to the end. I did my back double crochet, chain 3, and I'm going to do my front double crochet in that 3rd stitch. Well, in the middle of the 3 stitches, sorry. And do the front and pull up another big loop, and you'll be done with your second foundation row. So these are both considered foundation rows because they set the foundation for the rest of the pattern. And this is how it should be looking. And this can get a little confusing. Trust me, it took me a long time to actually get this pattern down. So if you mess up, don't feel bad. Like I messed up a ton. It took me actually a few days to actually get this pattern right. So a tip that I can give you is to make sure that you put your second row in the right place is you should have 2 back double crochets and then 2 front ones, which will create that beginning of that X look, and then 2 back ones. So you should see your main color in this T form, an X, T form, X, T form, X, T form, X, T form, X, T form. Alright, so that's a good way to make sure that you've placed them all in the correct places. And it's very, very important, because if you put them in the wrong placement, then it will honestly mess up for the next row. So make sure they are in the right place before you go ahead and continue. And what we're going to do for our first actual row, since these are considered foundation rows, we're going to put our main color, that loop back there, put it back on our hook like so. We're going to chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and like I said, the chain 6 for both your main and accent color throughout the whole pattern will count as a chain 3 and a double crochet. And I honestly think the main color rows are the easiest, and they stay the same throughout the pattern. You chain 6, and then you're going to put 2 double crochets in the 2 double crochet stitches from your previous main color row, and some will be in the back like this one, and then the next one will be in the front, then in the back, so they alternate. So to start, you're going to chain 6, turn your work, and we're going to put a double crochet in the back, so it goes through those 2 double crochet stitches from the last main color round. Like that. You're only going to put it through the main color of the last main color round. You're not going to put it through the accent color, okay? So then we're going to chain 3, and then our next grouping is in the front. So we're going to put a double crochet in this stitch just through the main color, and then in the next stitch like that, and then you're going to chain 3, and the next grouping will be in the back. So we're going to put our stitches in the back like this. Alright, and you're just going to do that throughout. So chain 3 in between, and then do the front ones and then the back. And you'll just do that all the way to the end, and you'll also be doing that for all of your main color rows. So the main color rows are pretty easy peasy, right? Alright, I'll meet you back when we get to the end of the row. And I'm at the end, and I just wanted to share this tip with you as well. I ended with a 2 double crochet toward the back. So I'm going to chain 3 and then count a 3rd chain up here, and then I'm going to do it in the front because that would be the natural way in the pattern. So it goes back, front, back, front. So I just did a back, so I'm going to attach it toward the front. So, and then pull up a big loop so it doesn't fall out, and we're going to go back to our loop here. Keep it front facing like this. And another huge major tip for you guys is for the start of every single one of your accent rows from here on out, you're going to pull this loop forward so it's in front of this main color. You're gonna put it on your hook, and we're gonna slip stitch around this. So your working yarn's in the back, we're gonna slip stitch around like that, and that's gonna count as our first chain, and we're gonna chain 5 more, so you're gonna have 6 chains total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this row of the accent color will be the same throughout as well. So we chained our 6 in the front there. That will count as a front double crochet and a chain 3. So we're going to put a back double crochet in that same middle stitch that we used last time, but it's going to be in the accent color of the chain 3 from the row before. And we're going to put a back double crochet like that. And then we're going to move on to our next opening. You see these chain 3, we're going to work in this middle one right here. And we ended with a back double crochet in the last one, so we're going to start with a back double crochet in this grouping. Chain 3 and do a front double crochet. Alright, and can you guess we ended with a front? We're going to start with a front over here in this opening. So we're going to find our middle one, do a front double crochet, chain 3, and do a back double crochet in that same loop, just like we did previously. So the biggest thing you're going to want to remember for your accent rows is the start. Always, every time for your accent rows, always start with a slip stitch around the main color and then chain the rest of your 6. So that will count as 1 chain, and then chain 5 more, and then you'll do a back double crochet to complete that. And that's going to be the start of every accent row, and the main color row that I just showed you is going to stay the same for every main color row. So, and the accent row show the same pattern. So I ended with a back double crochet. The next grouping, I'm going to start with a back double crochet. And you're going to follow that pattern all the way to the end. Chain 3, front. Alright, so you go ahead and follow that pattern sequence all the way until the end, and I will meet you back. Alrighty guys, so this is how it should be looking for you. You can start seeing the pattern coming to life now. And another little tip that I can tell you to make sure that you know that you're doing the right front and backs. In this spot right here, when you have 2 double crochet on top of each other like that, you know that you're going to want to do a front going this way and a front starting with your next one, because then it frames it and it gives it that shape. And then another good thing you can do to make sure that you're doing the right, you know, the T and then the X, the T and the X. Make sure that you put it in the right place. That's always a good way to double check. All right, and so we should have both of our loops at the same end now. And now it is time to move on to the main color again. So you'll put the main color on your hook, chain 6, and you'll go ahead and work the double crochets like I showed you in the last main color row. You'll work 2 in the back, chain 3, work 2 in the front, chain 3, work 2 in the back, chain 3, all the way down, and that stays the same, as well as the accent row that we just did. That'll stay the same throughout. So you're just going to be repeating those 2 rows until we reach the length that we would like, and once we reach that, I will go ahead and meet you back and show you the next part. Alright guys, and now I am back. I have finished my rows to create the length that I need, and a good way to count to make sure that you have the right length as well is to go down to the very bottom and find this little like plus sign pattern right here, and we're going to count that we have 5 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to end with a main color, so your 5th one won't have accent color going over top of it, which is great. That's what we want. So you're going to have 5 of these rows ending with a main color row. You're going to go ahead and leave a long tail for both colors, because we're going to use those to sew up the hat. And we're going to start with the main color, whatever side it's on for you. Should be the left side. You're going to get a yarning needle and put your yarn through there, and we're going to sew up the ends with the main color. What we're just going to fold it in half like this. And I typically whip stitch most of my things, so mattress stitch, whatever stitch you typically like to use to sew up your items, feel free to do that. I'm just gonna whip stitch. I always find whip stitch to be easiest, and it's gonna be the back seam of the hat. Most people aren't gonna notice it or see it, so no big deal. So I go ahead and just put my yarn needle through there at the top, and I'm just gonna whip stitch it, match the stitches up as evenly as I can since they're not perfectly aligned. Alright, and just gonna whip stitch it all the way down. And I'm gonna go through the accent color sometimes too, which is fine. We're just sewing up the sides to close our hat. And then next we're gonna do the top, and I'm gonna show you how to do that as well, since the stitching is a little awkward. So just gonna go through like this and do the side of the hat. Alright, and then I'll come back to show you how to do the top. Okay, and now we're ready to tie up the top. And like with most hats, we're going to want it to be scrunched up so that it closes up nicely and there's not a big hole at the top. And I'm gonna use my accent color. I'm gonna put it in my yarn needle, and I'm gonna go through both the double crochets like this and pull it, and only go through the top 2 like this of the double crochets and just pull it, and that will eventually scrunch it up and pull them together just like that, right at the top, just through the double crochet posts. Right, you can see how it's scrunching up over here already. And of course I'm gonna add a faux fur pom-pom to the top of my hats. You can also use yarn pom-poms or no pom-poms at all if that's what you want to do. But of course, I think the pom-poms always look nice, and then they cover up the little scrunchy part of the top of the head. Again, not many people see that, so it's not a big deal. But I always think the faux fur pom-poms or even yarn pom-poms just add a cute little extra to any type of handmade hat, and I love them. So just keep doing this all the way around the double crochet posts. And I'll start scrunching up for you and closing up the top. That's why we end with a main color, because it gives us those posts to go through. All right, and I'm at the end. I'm gonna go through this chain and the top of this double crochet just to close it all the way up. And I'm gonna pull until it's closed. And it'll look like this. Just pull it nice and tight and close it off like you normally would. I do a knot on the outside to close it up, and then I weave it in to hide the tail. So we have a couple weaves to weave in at the end. So I'm gonna cut this a little bit shorter. All right, and this is what our hat looks like so far. Don't forget, we still have to add a brim. All right, so that's what it's gonna look like for you. And grab your accent color, and we'll go ahead and get started on the brim. Once you have your accent color, you're gonna make a slip knot, and I like to go back where the back seam is, because it's kind of a little wonky back here. So it's a good place to start the brim. And we'll go ahead and attach with a slip stitch. And then chain 2. And put a double crochet in that same space. Our chain 2 will not count as a stitch. And try to place, and we're just going to do double crochets all the way around and attach, so we're going to be working in the round. So we don't have very set places. These are like our only 2 set stitches. So just try to place them as evenly as possible. So I'm going to go 1 here, 1 here, 1 here in this chain, and then 1 in each of these stitches. And I'm going to do it in those spaces all the way around, placing double crochets. All right, and like I said, just want to make it as evenly as possible so we don't have big gaps in our brim. And you can just find whatever place you feel comfortable putting your stitches. We just want to make sure that they're even as possible so we don't have gaps, and then we also don't want to have too many stitches, so we don't want to be putting like 2 or 3 stitches so close together. Right, so just find where it gets as even, like you can tell right here, that they're all pretty evenly spaced. And you're just going to do that all the way around, and then attach to your beginning chain 2, and we'll just be working in the round. Once you have go ahead and attached your yarn, you can chain 2, and again we're going to be working in the round. And for this row and how many ever rows you would like to make the length of your brim, you're going to place a double crochet in the first stitch, and then yarn over twice, and you're going to do a front post treble crochet in the front. So you're going to go behind this, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through the last 2. And then the next stitch, a double crochet, and then the next one, a front post treble. So you yarn over twice and go under the stitch and pull up, and you're just going to repeat that all the way around, and that's going to give that ridged look. And again, you're just going to repeat this row as many times as you'd like for your length of your band. And for me, I'm going to do 4 total, so 1, 2, and then 2 more after this to create the length of my band. So guys, just keep repeating that row of doing double crochet in front post until you get the length that you want. You can have a short brim like this, or you can keep going to make it a little longer. I like my brims a little longer because I like them to cover all of my ears, but just do it to whatever is your preference. And once you're done, sew in the couple of loose ends that you might have and top it with a faux fur pom-pom, a yarn pom-pom, or just leave it as is. And then you'll be all done and you're ready to wear it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I apologize for my voice for this video. I do have a little bit of a cold, so hopefully you guys were able to bear with me and it wasn't too awful. But I just really wanted to share this as soon as possible because I fell in love with this stitch and I made this beanie and I was in love with it and I just felt like I needed to share it. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I can't wait to see what you make and the color combinations that you choose. So post them on Instagram and tag me. I would love to see all the creations that you guys make. And remember to use hashtag CraftyTribe so I can see all the projects that you guys are doing with my patterns. Thanks, guys. Enjoy.